Okay, let's analyze our elastic collision formula where both momentum and kinetic energy are conserved. And we are going to look at the simpler situation where the M2 is stationary before collision, so M1 is going to come and hit it, and we know that the V1 will give some velocity to M2, so the red one is going to go in this direction, but we don't know whether the green one is going to keep moving or it's going to bounce back. We don't know this. We know one thing, of course, is that the mass is always positive, so there is no sign change in here. So V2 prime would have the same direction as V1, which makes sense, it's clear. So as I said, this is going to hit this one, and the V2 is going to move in the same direction as V1. The M2 is going to move with the same direction as V1. So V2 prime has the same direction as V1. But let's look at the situation when the M1 is much bigger than M2. So M1 is much bigger than M2. M2 is almost 0. In such a situation, if M2 is 0, this is going to be gone, and this is going to be 1, cancelling each other. So V1 prime would equal to V1, which makes sense because this is going to be much bigger and it's not going to even feel this one. It's just going to continue after collision, right? And with the same velocity. And what will happen to V2? What will happen to M2? What is the V2 prime? Since the M2 is almost 0, this will cancel out this, and the V2 prime would be equal to twice of V1. So this is going to move with twice velocity after. So it's going to move, of course, much faster because something huge has hit it, right? Now let's look at the situation when this one is very small and this one is very big. So the small one is going to hit this and go back, right? Let's see if our formula confirms. This one is almost 0, so this is 0, so this will cancel each other. It will be negative 1, so V1 prime would be negative of V1. So this is going to hit this and come back with exactly the same velocity as if the green one has hit the ball, because the red one is very strong. So makes sense and satisfies our intuition. What will happen to this one? You assume this one wouldn't be affected at all because this is really small, right? So if this is almost 0, of course this is 0, so V2 prime will remain 0. So everything is good now. Now let's look at the situation when M1 and M2 are equal. If they are equal, of course this would be 0, so V1 prime would be 0. So V1 prime would be 0. And V2 prime, if they are equal, of course 2m here cancel 1, so V2 prime would equal V1. So it means that the green one is going to hit the red one and transfer its velocity to the red one, so the red one is going to move with the same velocity as the green one, but the green one is going to stay stationary after collision. So it's going to give its velocity to this and itself stays stationary. So as you can see, these formulas speak to us. They are actually statements and they speak to us. So you stop the video and analyze it on your own.